present here. I am delegate of Sambhav Initiative and moderator of today's session. On behalf of Sambhav Initiative, I extend a warm welcome to all of you to the 1 week online National Mentorship Program, Supreme Court Law Clerk cum Research Associate Examination. Sambhav Initiative is a pan India campaign dedicated to promoting alternative dispute resolution, free legal aid services, mental health awareness, and legal literacy across diverse sections of society. The initiative was initiated by Justice K.G. Balakrishnan Sir, former Chief Justice of India, and is presently headed by Patron in Chief of Sambhav Initiative, Honorable Justice C.K. Thakkar Sir, and Patron of Sambhav Initiative, Honorable Justice M.R. Shah Sir, former Judges of Supreme Court of India, and governed by several former judges of various high courts. During this mentorship program, participants will be guided through the following key areas: recent legal developments and analysis of landmark, as well as contemporary Supreme Court judgments, introduction to the Law Clerk cum Research Associate examination, including eligibility, syllabus, exam pattern, evaluation, parameters, and career prospects, preparation of draft research memo, brief preparation of special leave petitions, civil or criminal appeals, and writ petitions, handling analytical and problem based legal questions, core legal subjects including constitutional law, contract law, civil law, and criminal law, along with key concepts and principles. The sessions will be conducted by law clerk cum research associates and former law clerks to the honorable judges of the Supreme Court of India, who will share practical insights, examination strategies, and real time understanding of judicial work and expectations. This program seeks to bridge the gap between academic study and practical judicial application, enabling aspirants to develop both doctrinal clarity and analytical precision. Today's session will be focused on recent legal developments, including discussion on recent developments in law and jurisprudence during the preceding 1 year, analysis of landmark and contemporary Supreme Court judgments. It is indeed a matter of great privilege to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's session, Shri Aditya Kumar Singh Sir, a first generation legal professional who has carved a remarkable path in the field of law. Sir entered the legal profession at a time when the world of law was both unfamiliar and demanding, yet he quickly developed a deep and enduring commitment to civil and commercial law. During his time at law school, Sir interned with distinguished senior advocates and Honorable Justice of the Supreme Court of India, including the then Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. A proven advocate and scholar, Sir has distinguished himself in numerous moot court competitions and legal contests, demonstrating both academic excellence and advocacy skills. Among select few fresh graduates to clear the highly competitive Supreme Court Law Clerk cum Research Associate Examination 2025, Sir currently serves as Law Clerk cum Research Associate to an Honorable Judge of the Supreme Court of India. We are deeply honored to have you with us today, sir. Over to you, sir.
Hi, thank you so much, Avneet, for the introduction. Am I visible?
Yes, sir, you are visible.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi. Can we have some responses, please? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are
Yes,
audible.
sir,
Thanks,
you're
George.
audible.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
So you're not audible to us. You're visible to us, but not audible.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, now you are audible.
Okay. Okay. I think that was some technical problem. I was turning on my mic and it was going on. Okay. Yeah. Hello. So, as far as you know, the topic for today will be analysis on the landmark and contemporary Supreme Court judgments. So I'll be dealing with this part only. I think you'll get introduction of the paper, how the exam goes, and how different parts of the exam are conducted, and how you need to approach to the objective part and the subjective part in a different session. So I'll be focusing on this judgment part. So basically, what it is. So as far as you know, this paper is based on the basic understanding of law you have. It's not a very difficult exam. You just have to have your basic strongs, and that covers the landmark and recent judgments. So what happens is the questions there are basically from your core law subjects only, but somehow they are interlinked to the recent judgments of the Supreme Court. So basically the exam does, what basically the exam does is it wants to test how much you read daily on a daily basis, and how much you are familiar with the current legal scenario, what is going on in the legal field. So yeah, that is it. So I like you to tell that format which was followed by the exam earlier was they used to give like 15 to 20 questions in the recent legal section, but now from the past 2 years we are not getting that. We are only getting what, like 4 questions in that section. So you must all be wondering that we can just easily escape on it. But no, that's not the part you can do actually, because what happens is the section, the designated section, it has only 4 5 questions from coming from the recent legal development area. But still, if you'll see in every area, they put out some questions which are somehow interlinked to the. I think my voice is echoing.
No, it's
Am I
fine, sir.
audible?
No, sir, you're completely audible.
Okay, okay. Yeah, tell me whenever my voice is breaking or something. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Thank you. Yeah, so basically what they do is they, in all of the areas, let it be legal English or like comprehension, whatever, in all of the areas, they put out the judgments in the form that it will, if you read them, it will be helpful for you in every area. Because like, for example, in earlier years, in English section, they had a paragraph of the famous banyan tree holdings case. So if you knew the case, you would easily be able to attempt that question. So that's how it works. So you cannot escape it. Even if you see it from the outside, it looks like that there are only 3 4 questions, you can just easily escape on it. But no, that's not the part. And then there is a part which contains a note writing, that also contains of 75 marks, I think. I don't know about this year format, but it used to contain 75 marks. So in that also you are given a choice of 5 topics on which you can write a note that contains, I think, 75 to 80 marks. So in that also, you'll find questions based on the recent judgments of the Supreme Court, recent landmark judgments of the Supreme Court. So if you prepare these judgments, this will help you in that part also to score score there. Then I think some of you might know that the Supreme Court publishes the list of the important judgments each year. So it's like you don't have to even go and search for it. Whatever you need for your exam preparation, it's all there on the website of the Supreme Court in the section of that judicial clerkship. So you don't need to see from where you'll get the material. I think they might have uploaded the list by now, or if not, they must upload it in like a day or two. It's already 15, the exam is on 7. Yeah, so they'll upload it in a day or two. What you need to do is you just need to at least read all the judgments in the list. Okay, someone is saying this list has not been uploaded. Yeah, it's not been uploaded. Just a minute, I'll see. Somebody's writing also. Answer key of the PYQs. I don't think they provide answer key of the PYQs. You'll not find it on the website, because what they do is when you write the exam, after that you get a personalized answer key. Like you can download it from your ID, but it's very personalized answer key, whatever you have attempted. So it shows only that. So there is no universal answer key if you're trying to find it out on the website. As far as I know, there is no universal answer key. You can only have the like previous or question papers. No, I'm not talking about judiciary exam. Okay, let's skip the chat box for a minute. Yeah, so that is it. They'll provide you a list, complete list. So if you're not planning to read all of the judgments, I would suggest you read all of the recent judgments. But if you're not planning to read all, and if you don't have time, because yes, the time is very less. So at least you prepare those 70, 80 judgments, whatever they provide in the list, because that is very helpful, really helpful. If you prepare those 70, 80 judgments, you'll easily be able to go through the paper. So I have taken out this list, that earlier list, because the recent list is not published. So There are a lot of, because 2024 and 2025 was the year which was full of constitutional bench judgments. This year it has been a little slow as compared to that 2024 and 2025 period. 2025, yeah, 2025 has actually like a lot of constitutional bench judgments, nine judge judgments also, three nine judge bench judgments. So you can read them because they will obviously make they'll obviously make to this list. The new list that we'll be publishing, this will obviously include some of the judgments from the previous year, like from 2024 also till 2023 also. They might include the judgments because some of the judgments are there which are important. So I think some of the judgments I've taken out the list. I wanted to talk to you about some of the judgments so you are better prepared with this, because according to me they're definitely going to make it to this new list. You all must have heard about this. You can easily download the list from the Supreme Court website. It's available there, last year's judgment list. And most of the judgments from there, I can assure you, are still relevant to this date and they will make to this list. So, all of you, I'll just give a small gist of every judgment because we don't have that much of a time that I explain each and every judgment here. But you'll get a basic idea of what to study. First of all, I think this nine judge bench judgment in the Property Owners Association versus State of Maharashtra. I don't know how many of you have read it, but it's very important judgment which holds that not all private properties are the material resources of the community. So this is the judgment which was passed by 7-2 majority. So when you are reading a judgment of this caliber, which is a nine judge constitutional bench judgment, not only the majority opinion but the dissent also makes a very important aspect for you to read, because the majority everyone knows, the person making the paper knows that everyone kind of knows what was held by the majority, but the kind of questions they frame is that okay, what was held in the minority opinion, and how the judge writing the minority opinion tried to justify it, what reasoning the honorable judge gave. So these are the questions that you will find in the exam. So whenever you're reading a judgment which has a dissenting opinion, I think you should read it with more stress rather than the majority opinion. Last year also there's a question which was asked which contained the which asked the reasoning of the minority opinion in the judgment, not the majority opinion. So that you can focus on. Other judgment I want to talk about, that's mines and minerals, right? That is also a nine judge bench constitutional judgment which says that state have the power to tax mineral rights and royalty is not in the nature of tax. Again, it has one dissenting opinion of Justice Nagaratna that is very important to read. Very beautifully written minority opinion.
Sir, can you please repeat the name of the case?
Name, I'll try to find out in the list. I have the list with me. Just a minute.
Or kindly share the list if you can just provide of
The
your own
list you
observation.
can the list you can download from the Supreme Court website. You
We
will
have
find
that
it.
list, but just tell us the number so we could encircle those all judgments.
Okay, okay. It is on those of you who have the list, you can find it on number 17, serial number 17. Mineral Area Development Authority versus Steel Authority of India.
So not all of us have the list of the judgments, so it would be beneficial if you could share, if you could get it shared on here or somewhere else maybe.
Okay. I'll try to share the screen if that is possible from here. Just a minute. Actually, I'm not able to share it here. I don't know why.
So you can share it with me. I'll share from my side.
Okay, just a minute. I'm sending it to Jan because I have his number. So,
Oh, sure, sir.
okay.
So you can continue. We'll share it from our end.
Okay, okay, sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You all can, those of you who know how to navigate to the Supreme Court website, you can all download that list. As I told you, it's useful. You can download and read from it. It's under the judicial clerkship section from where you must have filled your form as well. So it's a little down. It's labeled as important judgments for 2025. So all of you can download it from here for future references. Also, you can keep it with you. And as I told you, the judgments will be relevant. Yeah, so I was talking about this mines and minerals case, that Mineral Area Development Authority versus Steel Authority of India. Again, nine judge bench judgment, very important for this year as well. It holds that state have power to tax mineral rights and royalty is not in the nature of tax. And you'll have to read Justice Nagratna's dissent, which is very important, which will be asked most probably, not the majority part, as I said earlier. Then from this list only, as some of you might remember, this Sita Soren versus Union of India judgment, seven judge bench judgment, which holds that bribery and these all acts are not covered under the parliamentary privileges which MPs and MLAs have. So again, this is very important. This is a unanimous judgment, like all seven judges held the same thing, but still very important judgment. Yeah. Avnin, did you get the list?
Sir is sharing with me.
Okay. Okay, okay, you all can download as well and we'll talk about it. Another judgment which I wanted to talk about in brief was Anjum Kadri versus Union of India. You can note it down, the some of you who don't have the list. So it's Anjum Kadri versus Union of India, which upheld the validity of the UP Madrasa Act. It's a three-judge bench judgment, but yeah, I feel it's very important. Other than that, oh, okay, sure. Yeah, so other than that, there was this another seven-judge bench judgment, Tej Prakash Pathak versus State of Rajasthan, which holds that the rules of the game, this is a very important judgment in service law, that the rules of the game cannot be changed while reading a judgment. What I think we should consider some example. I'll do one thing. I'll take the questions at the end, so it's no disturbance from my side as well and from your side as well. You can all like write down your questions, whatever you're thinking that is important. We can take it at the end. Is it okay?
Yes, I will open the floor after the session ends.
Yes, yes, sure, sure. So yes, I was talking about Tej Prakash Pathak versus State of Rajasthan. This is another seven-judge bench judgment, which is very important. The rules of the game cannot be changed after the game has been played. That is the basic dictum what was held in this court and is upheld the earlier judgment of K. Manjushri versus State of Karnataka, I guess. Coming to UAPA, regarding UAPA, there was this another important judgment, Pravir Purkayasth versus State and City of Delhi, which held that in UAPA cases also you have to provide the grounds of arrest. Another judgment which I want is still relevant is State of Punjab versus Davinder Singh, which held that there is a permissibility of subclassification within the SC/ST subcaste, and Justice Bela Trivedi in this judgment wrote a separate dissent, so her dissent opinion becomes important again. Sita Soren I have talked about. Yes, this High Court Bar Association Allahabad versus State of Uttar Pradesh. It is again a five-judge bench judgment which held that there will be no automatic vacation of stay orders after 6 months, and it overruled the earlier judgment in Asia resurfacing case. So this is also important. Other than that, this Aligarh Muslim University case, some of you might have heard about it, that an institution incorporated by statute. The earlier judgment in Ajiz Basa said that the institution incorporated by statute cannot claim minority status, and it was overruled in this Aligarh Muslim University case. So this is also important. Then in arbitration, there was this one case, Central Organization for Railway Electrification, which held that the unilateral appointment of arbitrator is not permissible in law. This is again a five-judge bench judgment, and it is very important. Yeah. So from this list, I think I have covered what all the important judgments are, which are important for this year also. Other than that, you'll have to wait for this year's list, whatever it comes up, and you'll have to read those judgments very thoroughly. I can name a few for you from this year's jurisprudence, which I think might be in the list. One of them being that state of Tamil Nadu. Last two judgment I talked about, I think it was Aligarh Muslim University judgment, which overruled the earlier judgment in SSG's Basa, and Central Organization for Railway Electrification, which held that unilateral appointment of arbitrator is not permissible in law. UAPA judgment was Pravir Purkayasth versus Union of India. Yeah, so from this year's, the list has not come yet, but still we can expect like some of the landmark judgments. Obviously, you'll have to read. One of them being that state of Tamil Nadu versus Governor of Tamil Nadu, where it held that governor cannot sit on bills more than such and such time, and after some time, if the governor sits on the bill, it will be considered a deemed assent. That judgment made a lot of controversy, but yeah, that's very important judgment. Then we have the Gayatri Balaswamy case. I think some of you might have heard about it who are reading judgments regularly. Gayatri Balaswamy. In that judgment also, there is a separate dissent opinion of Justice K.V. Vishwanathan that is very important for you to read because might show up. Then very recently we got a judgment which held that menstrual health is a part of Article 21. I can't remember the name of the judgment right now. I think it was Jaya Thakur versus Union of India. Yeah, Jaya Thakur versus Union of India. So it held that menstrual right is a part of Article 21. So as I told you earlier also that the third part, which is the note making section. So sometimes these recent judgments show up there as well. Just like last year, there was this judgment, Shukanya Shanta versus Union of India, three-judge bench judgment, which held that a lot of caste-based discrimination, it tackled with caste-based discrimination in prison. So it showed up in that note-making part. And people who read it, it was really helpful to them to write that note and gain 75, 80 marks. So that is how judgment show up. So more than reading just the gist of the judgment, I would suggest you at least read you go into SCC and there are head notes in the judgment in the beginning. So first you go through the head note thoroughly because then you know the gist of the case. And then you should read the whole of the judgment. Never escape on reading the whole of the judgment because it gives you an edge to write a descriptive answer if it comes for it. Because these judgment might be asked in multiple choice as well, but there are high chances that they can be asked in the descriptive part also. So then you have to write at least 3 or 4 pages. I'm supposing 4 pages are there for you to write. So you'll have to know the judgment in depth to write 4 pages for it. And you cannot just write anything because the people checking the answer scripts are judges, district judges, or highly trained legal professionals. So to write it in a detail, you need to read the whole of the judgment. So I'll never suggest skipping on just reading the head note and just getting done with it because then only not everything is covered in the head note because what SCC thinks is important, they put it in the head note and that is fairly so. But still, you need to read whole of the judgment. Just a minute. So I think I've covered 2024 judgments. I have given 2, 3 recent judgments also. There might be more, and it will be very helpful for you as soon as the list comes. I'll suggest as soon as the list come, you download it, sit with it at least 2, 3 hours daily. That's how you'll be able to cover all of the judgments. Because last year, as I can see, it was 69 judgments. So this year also they might give 70 to 80 judgments for you to read, and obviously you'll have to read through all of them. Then comes the part, these this is to the legal the recent development in law part, but then there is a part which the earlier landmark judgments which are very old judgments, but they are also sometimes asked in the form of, they might not come in the form of objective question or in the recent section, but at some in some way or other they might be asked in the paper in different sections like English or reasoning section, they might be asked. So I think all of you must be in final year at least or graduate, so you might be knowing most of the basic landmark judgments which I don't need to like tell you here. Keshwananda Bharti and the elections case, these are the cases, that Minerva Mills case, Joseph San versus Union of India, these are the cases which have a connection to the society as well, like they're kind of like socio justice cases. So you need to read those cases because they are definitely asked in some way or the other. Other than that, regarding judgments, it's very easy part and very scoring part as well, because when you know the recent judgments, you can, I think you can attempt half of the paper, I would go on to say. Because in English section also there are judgments. As I told you, the banyan tree case was there in whole of the paragraphs, and if you knew that case easily, you could score 5 marks. Those 5 marks are nowhere gone. So that is how you go through it. I think this I have covered a lot of information that I have regarding this. It would be very easy if you guys can now pose questions, because then only we'll know what I'm missing on. There are a lot of aspects which I might have missed. So from your questions only I'll be able to answer.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we open the floor for question and answers. Whosoever have any questions can raise your hand or can write your question in the chat box.
For research memo, you'll have a separate session, I guess. You don't have to worry about anything, because this mentorship program will cover each and every topic you want to know. But the as far as I know, you might have received the schedule, and the session is divided into parts. So you will know about the research memo in another session, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. As I told you, the list of cases you can easily find. See, Supreme Court puts on everything you need for this exam on the website. You don't have to go and scuffle around. There is a list which those who have joined late, there is a list which comes in on the Supreme Court website itself. They release a list of important landmark judgments, and those are the judgments, not limited to, but yeah, at least you read those are the judgments. These are 60-70 judgments per year. So those are the recent landmark judgments. You can download it from the website. They have not uploaded it yet. They'll upload it in some time. But the last year's list of judgment you can find on the website, and you can read it from there.
Good evening, sir. I
Okay.
am
Hi.
Arijit Kumar.
Hi, hi.
So,
Hi, Arjit.
sir, firstly, thank you for this wonderful session. But I have one generic question. Sir,
Yes.
I am in my law school now, but I
Mhm.
don't reside in Delhi. I stay in other part of the country. So, is it helpful that if interning under a Supreme Court judge do help in this law clerk exam, or just we should focus on our study? Means what it said has to say.
No, no, definitely it does. Because see, whatever work you are doing, you will be doing as a law clerk here at Supreme Court. Most of it you'll see get a first-hand experience at the internships only. So obviously, definitely interning at a Supreme Court judge's office is a great idea if you're willing to pursue this exam. If you have not yet interned, you can intern in the upcoming months. You get a close exposure to what work actually you'll be supposed to do when you're selected as a law clerk. You'll have a different session on this also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for that.
Okay. Yeah, so somebody has written how to write an answer if the question comes from these judgments. Yeah. So as far as the descriptive question is concerned, as I told you earlier as well, you need to read whole of the judgments. And in descriptive questions, you are expected to answer in at least 3-4 pages about the judgment. So they might ask different things related to a judgment. Let's say they ask you specifically that what was held in the minority opinion of this judgment. So now you don't have to focus much on the majority opinion, and you only write about the minority opinion. The note format which I prefer usually is, while writing a note on a judgment, is facts of the judgment, the legal issues involved, and then what was held. This is the basic format that you should follow. This covers each and everything. What was the facts, what were the issues involved, and what was held in the judgment. Makes it simple for the reader to understand, divide it into three parts. And you don't, in this exam at least, you don't go beyond four pages, I guess. You'll get sheets to write the descriptive paper. You have to write it on pen paper. It's not online, so you have to type or something. So I think you get only 5-6 pages, not more than that. So you'll have to make your answer concise as well, that you cover each and every point in that 4-5 pages. So yeah, that is how you go about descriptive answers on judgments.
Hi Aditya,
Hello, Vishwas.
this is Vishwas. Thank you so much for the insightful session. So my question is, while writing the judgments,
Yes.
firstly, while writing the judgment, do we have to reveal the name of the honorable judges who passed?
You can definitely write it. You can start writing by the name of the judgment and what was the quorum. You can definitely
Yeah.
write it. There's no problem.
And for this year examination, I'm asking, since you have given it, is it sufficient to go with the list they will be providing on the website, as well as the list which you have provided? Is it
Oh,
sufficient
so
to?
yeah, so the list they give, they usually cover all the landmark judgments, all the important judgments, but obviously the list is not exhaustive. You can add or subtract to it because they only give you the recent judgments. They don't cover that older landmark judgments in
Yeah,
that
like
list.
for example, let's say in recent judgments, they might ask the Yashwant Verma case, which is very, very popular right now.
Okay, yeah, I understand.
And
So yes,
so,
go on, go on.
yeah, so let's say, do we go with the digest that these sites like Live Law, SCC Online, that they gives us, like arbitration digest, criminal law digest, and all that?
Yes, you can trust them. Like Live Law Digest, though I personally read from it the digest which comes annual digest, monthly digest. They make a very good collection there. You can obviously trust them and read it from there. Live Law is good.
Yeah, and for the objective paper, my last question would be, for the objective paper, do you think since the pattern has been changed post 2023, but do you think from 2015, which is available on the website, from 2015 to 25, we cover all the papers to for the objective type one?
For objective type, you usually they ask from the basic laws only. All the basic laws you have read in your law school, they
Yeah.
cover all of them, and you'll have a detailed class on that. So if you join that, you'll have more clarity on that. But yeah, they
Huh.
ask on the pattern has not changed for the objective question. Might from the past 2 3 years it has been the same, that 100 objective questions out of which you need to at least score, like to be on the safer side, I'll say you aim for 65 70 in the
Yeah.
objective
No,
part.
I am a person with benchmark disability, and I have heard that that relevant reservation rules also apply there.
No, I have no idea about the reservations or
Okay,
how it works.
okay, okay.
Okay. So a lot of people are writing in the chat box about the judgments, that there are 70, 80 judgments, and do we need to like remember all of them or something. See, it's not a one day work, I would say. If you want to sit on one day with a list and gulp it all down, that's not gonna happen. Because these are the judgments, like this list which will come now, it is not even whole of the jurisprudence that has happened in the past year. Obviously they cannot cover each and everything, they just put out the relevant judgments. You are not limited to that list. That list is just a guiding factor to you. You must read more than that, I would say. But still, if you are reading that 70 80 judgment, that would be enough. But at least you read those judgments carefully. Those are the judgments which you cannot derogate on. You'll have to read them because those are the judgments which contain the most important points which has happened in the last preceding year. So as far as it goes to that the 70 80 judgments, so obviously it's not a one day work. You'll have to sit how many days? I think you have 15 20 days, you have at least more than 20 even. So even if we suppose you have 20 days, you can sit with three judgments, four judgment for a day, five judgment for a day. Some judgments are not that big or difficult to understand. So you can curate a list accordingly. From the list that will come, you can curate your own list from that. You can actually put the judgments which are easy to understand and smaller, I would say. You can put them for one day and you can sit and read what, let's say, eight judgments, seven judgments in a day. Then you put out the judgments which are difficult in the sense like they contain an important point of law, they are big judgments. So you curate them in a separate list, you sit with them on a different day, let's say two judgments a day, three judgments a day. That is how it works. And yes, as far as I know, you'll have to cover all of them.
So, sir, there is something something that I wanted to ask.
Yes, yes.
Now, I appeared for the exam last year,
Okay.
and what I found was that, of course, the judgments are a bit long, and they are reduced with the previous impugned judgments and other related judgments that are part
Yes,
of
yes.
the
Sure.
whole SLP. So, is there any, did you have, while you appeared for the exam, did you have any set tips and tricks, any set method in which you read the judgments? Because at least I found it not possible to be able to read the whole judgment and also write it in the shortest form possible, shortest and the most legible form possible. So, is there any set way in which you read the judgments, which gave you an insight into what needed to be written, as well as did not take as much time?
See,
Thank you, sir.
everybody functions on a different level. Everybody has different way of doing a certain thing. What I might tell you worked for me might not work for everyone else. So, as I said, the basic is you work for me is like curating judgments in my list. What is the judgment which I can read today? What are the judgments which I can sit with in one day and finish 7, 8 judgments in a day? So basically, you can make a list out of it, which you think the like. Let's say there's a important landmark judgment on arbitration, and you
Okay.
think that it would be difficult for you to understand that because you are not very well versed with that area of law. So for that judgment, you'll have to sit for maybe for whole of the day. So you curate it in a way that that judgment gets most of your time. Because see, if you are
Okay.
already well versed with one area of law and the judgment relates to that, you can easily finish it off in like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, let's say. So that is how you'll go with it. It depends on how it works for each and every one of you. You'll have to find your own way.
Okay, sir. All right.
I think that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, my question is regarding landmark judgment. That we have to cover only basic judgments or important judgments, or we have to go in deep.
See, as far as I know, they focus on the recent judgments more. And before before the last year, they used to have, as I told you, they used to have a section of 15 marks for this recent judgment. Now they have reduced it. I don't know why. I think they should have kept it to 15. But yeah, that is what it is. But they focus on the recent judgments more. But still, you need to have your basics clear regarding the landmark judgments. Like Keshwananda Bharati, basic structure doctrine. They can put a question related to basic structure doctrine anyway. So these are like very landmark judgments which you have read in your law school, which are with you and they will be with you always. These are the judgments which are asked from older days. They'll not ask you some judgment which no one is aware of from at least from 80s or 70s. So you can be assured about that from the older judgment, they'll ask very landmark judgments only if they even do it. You need to focus more on the recent jurisprudence because that is what contains most of the area. So yeah, recent judgments you need to learn and read more, but landmark judgments also you cannot escape on. You at least need to have a basic idea of all the landmark judgments which are there.
Kritika ma'am, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Kritika.
Sir, I wanted to ask, like someone has also asked in the chat box, in the objective type questions, whether we will be asked on the basis of new criminal laws or the old ones.
I think they must release a note saying last year they released a note saying what exactly they want, and they mention it there that you don't need to prepare this BNS, BNSS, and BSA, and they were sticking to that older laws. But this year, I think they are going with the older and new both of the laws. As far as I saw the notification, it had both of the laws, IPC, BNS, and CRPC, BNSS.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Uh, Karishma ma'am, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Ma'am, you are not audible. Can you please write your question in the chat box? Kuldeep sir, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening, sir. Sir,
Good
my
evening.
question
Good evening, Kuldeep.
is, if the list is not uploaded by the Supreme Court, then how we should refer those cases?
No, as far as I know, they'll definitely upload the list. It might be a little late from where you are seeing, but last year also they uploaded it by this time only, I guess 15, 16. I don't remember the exact time, but they uploaded in the mid of the Feb. So you'll definitely get a list. Don't worry about it. And even if you don't get a list, you can, like, some of the judgments you might have heard, which were in, as I told you, Gayatri Balaswamy, very important judgment, and that governor's case, Tamil Nadu governor's case. So, like that, some of the judgments you might have heard somewhere or the other, or you can just simply Google landmark judgments of 2025, landmark judgments of 2026. Some of the websites or the other might have the names at least for you to go on. But don't worry, you'll not face the situation. They'll definitely upload a list.
Sir, I have seen that the landmark judgments of 2025 are there in that Supreme Court side, which are almost six. So that list, that is not a specific list, but they mention it as landmark judgments of the current year. And even the live law digest for this upcoming this 2025 year contains only seven judgments at a time. So other than that seven, if they release, these judgments which you have mentioned just now are, I'm supposing that are enough.
No, I think they'll release a list. I think you're talking about some different list. Supreme Court releases a list of the judgments which are important
No,
for
no.
you.
In that Supreme Court side, that landmark judgment, there is another separate link which contains only six judgments, which I will be share. I can share as well. तो उसमें सिर्फ छह जजमेंट्स हैं, तो उसके अलावा ये सही, ये इनफ होंगे अगर नहीं रिलीज करते हैं तो.
Nice. I don't think six judgments would be enough for you to go through
No, no.
this
Other
exam at least.
फिर I've adding those you have just mentioned.
Yes, you can. You all should definitely go and look at the list. As I said, 2024 and 2025 was full of constitutional bench judgments. So you can definitely, until unless you get the new list, you can definitely practice from that list. And that is why I kept my session a little shorter for me to speak, because this is the topic which needs you people to ask questions so that I can tell you how to go through it. So yeah, this 2025 list is very much relevant. I told you like six, seven judgments, but in that also you can find many judgments which you see that are seven judge bench judgments, five judge bench judgments. They'll still be relevant because 2024 and 2025, both of the years had a lot of constitutional bench judgments as compared to this year, obviously. So until unless they release this new list, you can practice from this list.
Karishma ma'am, you can ask your question now.
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
you're
yeah.
audible, Karishma.
Yeah, I want to ask, are the last 5 years previous year question enough for practice, or do we need to solve CLAT PG and ALPG previous year questions for this exam? Because I heard that the paper is based on them. So how true is that?
See, there is no hard and fast rule of paper being based on some pattern or some. It's just 5 years would obviously do. You can practice from that. You'll have a good grip if you practice from the past 5 years papers. As I told you, the format has changed a little bit for this landmark judgment. The section has been made a little shorter. It now contains only 4 or 5 questions. Last year, they gave only 4 or 5 questions in the recent judgment cases. but still they give these questions related to landmark recent judgments in other sections as well. So you can never predict how much this part will be involved, because you can never say that only those four questions which come in that part would be relevant and the recent judgment part is done from that. Each and every part of this paper will test your knowledge of the recent judgments in some way or the other.
And as you told, there are no universal answers. So how can we check ourselves? Where can we get correct answers for all the years? And who will evaluate us?
Answers to, as I told in the very beginning of the sessions, you cannot get the answer key for the objective questions. As far as I know, it's not uploaded. They don't upload a universal answer key for the objective questions. As far as the descriptive question go, first is the brief making exercise that you'll get a session for how to prepare a brief note. The second question is the research memo preparation. On that also you'll get a complete session how to prepare a research memo session. Only part I can see recent judgments having a role to play or recent judgments can show up, that would be the third question in the descriptive part, that is the note making question. That also contains 75-80 marks. There's a very big ratio. So there sometimes what they do, they put on some landmark judgment and ask you to write a note on. So if you read this landmark recent judgments, that helps you there in note writing. Last year they asked Sukanya Shanta.
Um,
Try to read this menstrual health judgment in its whole. Might show up in that third part. Dr. Jaya Thakur versus Union of India. It has come very recently that menstrual health is part of Article 21. So I'm not saying that it will come. Don't take my word for it and later curse me for it that it did not come. You read the whole judgment. But yeah, there are high chances of it coming in that descriptive note making part.
Sir, I have another question. Sir,
Yes, yes.
as you stated, there will be separate session for brief and note making. But I
Yes,
just
yes.
want to understand one thing: what is the fundamental difference between brief and note making? Because both we have to make in 2 pages, I believe. So, what's the difference? I'm unable to comprehend. If you kindly guide.
See, note making, you are to write, let's say they say that write a note on this and this. So you have to write a note on that topic. But brief making is quite different. Brief making is you'll get a real Supreme Court file which we work on and which is used in the Supreme Court. You'll get the e-copy of it and you'll have to prepare a brief note on what is in the brief. That is the facts of the brief, what is the order impugned before the Supreme Court, and what are the grounds. These are the points that they see. You'll attend that brief making session and you'll learn everything about it.
And note can be from any means any law point of.
Yes, note, they can ask anything from you. They can ask you write a note on doctrine of proportionality, so you'll have to explain whole of the doctrine there. But brief making is a different exercise altogether. You are given a e-file of the Supreme Court, the real file, and you have to make a brief on that file.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Anyone have any another question?
yes, Mukti ji. You raised the hand.
Ask your question, guys. That is how this session will go. I could not have prepared a 30-minute speech for this topic at least, because this topic involves a lot of discussion. That is why I thought I'll give most of the time to you guys to pose your questions you have regarding the judgments, how to read them, how to go through them. Another thing I would suggest that you know about SCC Online already. You will read judgments from there only. They have very good summaries. But Supreme Court website also has this true, like the copies of the judgment which are uploaded. They have the actually the list you'll get. It will have that Supreme Court citation of INSC. So on Supreme Court website also you can find the judgments through ESCR portal. They also have very good summaries of the judgment. The head note is very crisp and you can read from there as well. Just a suggestion.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi Aditya, Mukti this side.
Hi Mukti.
Actually, I'm already practicing right now, but I was thinking to appear like for the examinations. I'm a little confused if I should leave what I'm doing right now and prefer appearing for the exam, because right now I still get to make a few appearances and get to do the drafting, research, client handling, and all of that. So what are your views? Which like would it be beneficial for me to appear for the exams, and also I'm unable to make time to read judgments or prepare for it, and there are like barely 15-20 days are left. So like how can I utilize my time to the best, if you can suggest me with something?
Yes, yes. You first of all you should definitely appear for the exam, like write the exam at least. And I would not suggest you leaving everything for this exam. This exam is a very little part of what you can become. It's not like that you leave everything you practice and everything for this exam only, but you should definitely write the exam. Baki, whatever you feel like, how to make time for it, how to read. I would go on to say this is not a very difficult exam. Matlab, waves have been made about it, but this is not a very difficult exam. You don't need to be under so much stress for this. Just read basic laws, whatever basic laws you have read in your law school.
Yes.
Those only will help. And for the judgments also, people who are reading it for whole of the year, who are familiar with the recent judgments, they have at least been there to see what is happening in the legal landscape. They'll easily go through it. It's not a very difficult exam.
And like what would be my prospects post completing my clerkship? Like can you throw a little light on that?
Okay, so post completing your clerkship, it totally depends on you. If you go for people, a lot of people go for LLMs abroad after doing clerkship. It depends what you want with your life, what where your goals align. If you want to pursue litigation, so you'll go into litigation after that directly. You want to explore the LLM line abroad, you can explore that. It totally depends on you. A lot of options open up. This field, they already have a different session on this as well. What are the career prospects, how work goes on in clerkship? I'll not go into details of that, but this position, this job that you might undertake after writing this exam, that will change you completely. That will make you a different human being, a better human being. That is for sure. That I have learned in this 6 or 7 months of my tenure here. So yes.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
If any other want to ask any question, they can unmute and ask sir.
So Tanu is asking how effective are the judgment summaries given on the Supreme Court website. So as I told you, you can read from SCC Online also. It's your preference totally. They also have good summaries, but the Supreme Court website, you can find the judgments on ESCR. They also have very beautifully curated summaries, so you can read from there as well. They're very helpful. Yeah, as far as writing your interpretation of the judgment, you can definitely do it. It's not barred or banned completely to write your interpretation of the judgment. But when you're writing a note on a judgment, let's say, you will cover 3 points: facts, what are the issues, and what was held in the judgment. That you cannot, just a minute. Yeah, so that you cannot derogate on. Other than that, if you want to add a section of what you understand from that judgment and what is your interpretation of that judgment, or be that as it may, whatsoever it is, you can write it. Definitely, you can write it. But whenever you're writing a note, don't skip on the fact part and what are the issues that were before the court, what were the issues raised, and what was held. These three parts you cannot skip on.
Hi Aditya, am I
Hello,
audible?
Harshita. Yeah, you are audible.
So you mentioned a bribery case, and I wanted to know what the case title for that was.
It was Sita Soren versus Union of India.
Okay, Sita Soren versus Union of
Union
India.
of India, 7-judge bench judgment
Perfect,
from
thank you.
2024.
Oh, okay. The other thing was, I am sure we're going to have a session on note making, but if you could
Yes, yes.
just elaborate a little more on that.
Note making, that third part I'm talking about, the brief, not the brief
The
making
third
exercise.
question, I understand.
Yeah. So as I said, the third question, it contains a note on recent judgments also. It might contain different topics. They give you 5 topics. You have to choose one and write on that one topic. So you have options. It's not like you are confined to only one topic and you'll have to write on that. They give you, that has been the trend. They give you 5 topics out of which you have to choose one. And as far as I have seen, I have evaluated it, definitely has one recent judgment on which you can write. So if you read this part, somehow that gets cleared for you.
Okay. And if we could just make it a little more informal and understand what your experience as an LR has been, how hectic the schedule gets if you have to go to the residence offices of the judges.
Yes. So as far as the schedule is definitely hectic. It depends on the workload of the office. Like office to office, it varies, but definitely it's very hectic. You are supposed to work, like some offices, they function 7 days a week. Most of the offices function 7 days a week. So yeah, a lot of work, lot of things to learn, because this exposure you won't get anywhere else. As far as I can say, you don't get this much of this amount, this variety of work anywhere else. Like if you're working for some senior who is mainly practicing in criminal law, so you'll be working with criminal law branches and everything. You might go into with a senior who is mainly practicing in civil domain. You'll get mostly civil cases. But here, while working as a law clerk, you literally go from one domain to another in minutes. One moment you'll be working on a file which is based on environmental law. The other moment you're working on IBC. So that is how varied this job is basically. You get to learn a lot and explore each and every domain of the field. And then you can also decide what you like more. That can also happen for you.
So, could you tell me what your work hours like generally are?
See, it
Madam,
depends
we
from
will give
office.
chance to other people also for asking question. So I request other
Got
to ask
it.
question. If anyone other interested, they can ask question to sir.
You'll have a different session for paper one. So you'll all your doubts regarding paper one would be cleared there regarding the objective questions. But as far as I can say, it contains the basic understanding of all the laws you have read in all 5 years of your law school.
Good evening, sir.
Good
Uh,
evening, Muskan.
like as you mentioned, if they are asking us about the held, what was the judge who was against the majority, matlab basically the minority judge.
Yes,
If
the minority judgment, yes.
the held, do we need to write the whole concept, like the facts, the background, what High Court held, or just stick to the held of the Supreme Court and then write according to that?
No, whenever you are dealing with the note making things, as I told you, you can divide your note making when you are writing a descriptive answer on the judgment. You can divide your answer into three parts: facts, what were the issues before the court, and what was held. So that covers everything. You don't, because you'll have limited pages to write. So you'll have to make good of your answer in those pages, in those 3 4 pages that you write only the relevant part. So whatever the facts are in brief, whatever the issue was before the court in brief, and whatever was held in that court, in that case. And let's say the case contains a dissenting opinion, a minority opinion. So you'll have to make a separate point for that also, depending on the case.
We will take one last question, then we will end today's session.
Sir, there is one question that can you kindly share your experience to get good marks in this examination?
See, it totally depends on your practice. You might have a different approach to different things. For this particular section, for recent judgments section, you need to read all the judgments that will be provided to you in the list. The list will come up in 2 3 days, I'm supposing. So to score good in this section, you definitely will have to read all those judgments that are provided in the list. It will contain 60 70 judgments. So I've already told, if you have joined late, I've already told how to divide your time through it. How can you curate your own list from that list and put some judgments on some day and some other judgments on some other day. And that is how you can go through it.
Sir, thank you very much for today's session and for nice question answer. And it's really appreciated that you have given time us on Sunday. Earlier, we suggest 4 o'clock time, but as sir told, the Supreme Court judge's office is very busy office,
Very
so he
busy,
could
yes.
not. Yes, yes, sir. So we shift session at 7:30, and thank you very much, sir, for your time and for valuable insight. We are looking forward in future also for have you with us for another session. And
Yes.
thank you very much, Lordship C.K. Thakkar, sir, and MR Shah, sir, for providing us such a valuable platform. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and making this possible. Thank you again,
All
sir.
the best. All the best, everyone. All the best, everyone, for the exam.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Have a nice